Teachers, in this eSchool video, we are going to be going over class management. Inside of classroom management, you'll be able to do many things. This is where you can print and create rosters, you can create seating charts, you'll be able to email your parents straight from the system, and view a calendar of assignments inside the gradebook as well. So let's see how we can navigate through classroom management. The first way you can get to the classroom management tab is just by clicking on a class. As you can see, when I clicked on the class, now the classroom management tab is highlighted at the top. We are now viewing the roster, class roster for that class. If I hover over this class management button, you will see roster is a choice. When you click on a class, it defaults to take you to the roster for that class. So there's several things you can do inside of the class roster. First thing is you can very easily see all of your students. You can click on your students and open up the student drawer. You can view any alerts. You can see some information about the students. You can also manipulate what you see about the kids here. If you click the gear at the top right, you can say show, hide columns. If you click there, this will let you edit what columns you have viewable on your class roster. Right now, the displayed icons are alert, student ID, and as follows, and the hidden ones are on the right side. I can simply just click the negative sign next to the ones I want to go away and the plus sign by the ones I want to add. And this will create that list. And as you can see, it was edited. So you can manipulate that to see the things that you would like to see about the student. Let's go back to the gear. The next option is add empty columns. This is where you can create a class roster to print out with empty columns for attendance to be taken by a substitute teacher, or even a paper grade book if you choose to do an assignment where you want to write out the grades on paper. All you have to do is click the gear and click on empty columns. You can select the number of empty columns you want to add. I'm just going to add 2. You can enter a start date, which will show up in the header if you click Add Date Headers to Columns. Once I click OK, you will see 2 dates get added and the columns follow beneath. If you do not want it to show a date, you can choose for it to just be blank by unchecking the Add Date Headers to Columns, and then you can handwrite in whatever you would like at the top. To reset any of this information, you can just go down to Restore Default Settings, and you'll see everything will get changed back to how it was when I first visited the roster page. Let's look at another icon at the top right of the window. You will see a little person with a circle with a line through it. If you click on that, you have 3 options. The class roster defaults to hide students that are unenrolled. So it does not show those students inside your roster. You are, however, able to say show with the active students. This will show them with italics so that you will know that they are actually unenrolled. The next option is to put all of the unenrolled students at the bottom so that you can just scroll to the very bottom of the roster and see those unenrolled students. Now, if you want to switch to a different class inside your class roster, it is very easy to do on the page without having to go home and click on the class there. All you have to do is click Change. You'll see this in many different places like the grade book, maybe in even performance and attendance. You don't have to go back home to click on the class list. You can simply click on the button that says Change. You will have your classes show up there. Now you will need to select Show All Classes to see all of the classes that you have assigned to you. Then you can just click on the class and say OK. And you'll see it went from science to math. Now let's cover how to print out your roster that you have created. To do this, click on Generate Roster Report. If you click on this, it'll actually create a PDF of your roster. This is where you would go to print out what you have created for use on paper. You would just simply hover over the top and you would click the print option. You can also download it with this option here. It'll even give you the ability to rotate it if you want to see it in landscape. Next, let's go back to classroom management and just hover over that icon at the top, and let's go to seating chart. Many of you will find the tools under seating chart very useful for your classes. This allows you to actually create a seating chart with the students in a visual way. You can do this in two different ways. At the top right, you'll see a little gear. If you click that gear, you can choose to have it grid blocks or free movement. If you choose grid blocks, you can manipulate the number of rows and the number of columns. You can also give it an engaging background if you would like. You can automatically shuffle students to where if you have to recreate and you want to move your kids around, you don't have to do it. You can sort them alphabetically in ascending or descending order, or you can clear them all off so you can start anew. So if you do grid blocks, let's see what that looks like. So as you can see, I have my grid over here, and I have my students over here. I can simply click Add All Students, and all students will automatically be added to the seating chart. I then can manipulate and move them around. You can move students back and off of the seating chart, and instead of clicking all students, you could simply just click and drag students in manually as well. Let's go back to the gear and see what it looks like to be able to place them in the free movement option. This is really great if you have a unique classroom setup. This is your space, so you might want to click the bottom right and drag it out to be larger. And now this is a canvas for you to lay out your students however you would wish. So if you have unique setup inside your classroom where tables are kind of sporadically placed, you are now able to move these students around however you would like. Let's look at the next icon up at the top right. It's the little picture of the student. If you hover over it, it says Open Unplaced Students Drawers. This is really great because you can find out some information about the student right inside the window to make better decisions on where they are placed inside the classroom. You could look up if they have an IEP for sitting closer to the front, or any other information that might aid in the decision on where to place the student inside your class. Now, once you have the students placed in either the grid fashion or the free form fashion, you can print. But I will say that the grid form is the only form that will actually print as you see it on the page. If you choose to move your classes around in the free form, it will only actually look the right way on your eSchool screen. So you will not be able to print those neatly for your substitute teachers. Only the grid will print as you see it on the page. Now on the top, you'll see unsaved changes. You cannot do anything until you click the little save button at the top right to save those changes. So as you can see, I kept with the grid so that I can print, and now I'm going to click on the print icon. Now if you have the free form, it will allow you to click print, but the students will not actually show up as you view it here. As you can see, it looks just like it did in the grid form. Now we do lose the grid lines, but that shouldn't be that big of a deal. And you have the same options as we shown before: print, save, or rotate. All right, now let's go up to class management and hover over that button again, and let's go to email. Now inside of email, you'll see it looks just like an email editor that you have worked on before. You have the options to attach files, to write text, to add anything really that you could choose. Now there's not a spot for really an email address. Instead, you have a button that says To. This is going to utilize the emails inside the system to send to those registered users. So let's just click on the To button. And at the top right, you'll see Send To. And right now it says both. Well, we do not have student email addresses inside of the system, so you just want to click on Guardians. This way, it will just send to those emails. If you leave it on both, those student emails do not exist anyway, so there's really not anybody that it's going to be sent to. Now, you have an option here, this check box on the left side of any of your courses and the plus button on the right to the right of the checkbox. Now, if I click on the checkbox next to Science, this is going to send an email to all parents that are registered for this course and have students in this course and gave their email addresses. If I want to send just to a particular student's parents inside of science, I would just click on the plus next to that checkbox, and then it's going to break down all the students that are inside of that course. Say that I just need to send a message to Minnie Mouse's parents, I would click the checkbox next to Minnie Mouse, and you'll see I get Walt Mouse and an email address. I would just put the checkbox there and then say close. Now you'll see the email generates at the top and I am ready to send the message. Now remember, in the settings, you are able to send a message to your personal email as well when you send a message from here. This is a really nice feature inside of eSchool Plus. Let's go back up to class management and hover over the button, and let's click on calendar. This tool is great for you to keep organized inside of eSchool. It will automatically show any assignments that you have created and put dates on in your gradebook. But you can also add events inside of this calendar to keep track of activities that happen within the school day. You can click to add events by clicking on the little icon of the calendar at the top right. You can go ahead and give your event details and add it to certain courses and click Save. That event will then show up on the calendar. On the left side, you have options of what you want to view on the calendar. That wraps up class management. I hope this helps. Have a great day.